Hey, it's Matt here with Peppercoat BBQ, and thanks for stopping by the Peppercoat Deck. Today, as you saw, it's a Boston butt pulled pork, but I want to do this different than what I typically do. If you've seen my videos in the past, you know that usually I will smoke a Boston butt on the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco for about 6 hours, wrap it in butcher paper, finish it in the oven. But today I'm going to do something that I've wanted to do for a long time. We're going to go, I don't know if you call this brisket style, Texas style, but I'm going to smoke it all the way through with splits on my Old Country BBQ Smokehouse. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be good, so stick around. So this is a smaller butt. It's about 6.5 pounds, and it's already been on for about 45 minutes. So I'm getting ready to spritz, but before I do, I want to catch you up on what I've done so far. I started last night with a light trim. I left the fat cap on to protect the bottom from the heat source here in my Old Country BBQ Smokehouse. I gave it a light coating of sea salt and coarse black pepper and put it in the fridge to dry brine overnight. This morning, I probed it with my Temp Spike Plus so I can keep check on the internals and then on the ambient temperature of the smoker. I started my fire like I always do with a little B&B lump oak. I brought my blower out to get that heated up a little bit, get the fire going, some coals broken down. Threw a couple of oak splits on top of that. I'm using mostly cherry, pecan, and oak today. This is going to be a long cook, so I put 2 gallons of water in the water pan, closed down the pit, got my temperatures up, and put the butt on about 45 minutes ago. So here we go, 45 minutes in. I'm going to give it the first spritz. This pork butt's been on for 3 hours. We've got a nice clean smoke rolling out. Our ambient temperature inside of the pit's dropped down to around 220. You can see that I have one stack open on the top, and we're running our intake vents at about 3/4. I just threw in a larger pecan split and then another smaller one. You can see those lit up really quick. I set up these cherry up here. That cherry's still just a little bit green. So after 3 hours, our water pan was almost empty. I'm putting another 2 gallons of water in here. You can see that we're getting a nice bark that's already set here after 3 hours. Want to keep spritzing this. So after 6 hours, as of now, I'm up to 9 splits that I have burned today. Remember, I started with the lump oak charcoal, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 pounds of lump oak. And now we've burnt 3 cherry splits, 3 pecan splits, and 3 oak splits. I just threw another small pecan split on there. Now these splits are all different sizes, so it's been hard today to judge an even amount of time between adding these splits. The cherry splits came from a guy pretty recently, and they've been drying out for a while, but they're probably not quite as dry as they should be. I can tell that they're burning a little slower, giving off a little more smoke when I'm burning them. The pecan and the oak splits are a little bit smaller, so I'm just having to keep a close eye on this today and add splits as needed. Our Boston butt is looking great, and we've got a nice color, nice bark on here. You can see how much drier this gets though. I will put a picture up here of one that after 6 hours what it looks like in the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco, just for comparison. And typically at this point, this is when I would pull this out and I would wrap it. But today we're just going to keep spritzing and keep on smoking. Another 3 hour update. It's actually been about 3.5 hours, 9.5 hours total for this 6.5 pound pork butt that we have on the Old Country BBQ Smokehouse. I have added water to the water pan. It was dry again. I'm still only at 180 degrees internal temperature, so it's taken a really long time to smoke this like this, but hey, I'm not giving up. I'm not going to wrap it no matter how bad that I want to, no matter how hungry I'm getting. We're going all the way, no wrap. I have added a few more splits and brought the pit temperature up to around 275, 280, I think is the ambient temperature now, according to my Temp Spike. And I shut down this smokestack up here. I only have one open. I've closed it down about halfway now. So I'm hoping that that's going to slow down a little of the convection that's in the chamber, and I will show you the pork butt. So we're getting a really nice dark bark on here, which is getting dark out here also. It makes it harder to see. I slowed down the convection a little bit through the chamber. Hopefully that will slow down the drying process of that bark. And I got to thinking, you know, I'm opening this up about every 30 to 45 minutes and spritzing it. Every time I do that, I'm letting cool air into the chamber. Every time that I spritz this, it's putting more moisture on the outside, and it's just going to extend that cooking process. It has been 11 and a half hours, but we finally reached that 203 degree internal temperature that we've been shooting for. We have went through 6 gallons of water, 21 splits, and the walk of shame, I had to cheat. So I didn't wrap, but I did come out here by the last 10 degrees, and I tinted this with some aluminum foil. But let's get this off, get in the house. My preference would be to take this now, wrap it in butcher paper, and let it rest for a couple of hours. But since it's getting so late, I'm probably just going to put it on the counter, cover it with some foil, and give it about 30 minutes, and then we'll check it out. So here we are with our 6.5 pound, 11.5 hour Texas style, brisket style, no wrap pork butt. And you can see that this thing, it has that meteorite bark on the outside, nice pullback on the bone. But let's get that bone out of there and get this pulled, see what kind of smoke we got on the inside and what it tastes like. So look at this beautiful pulled pork and all that pink color in there from the smoke. Just got a great depth to it. There was still a little bit of unrendered fat left in there, not much at all. I cleaned what was left to the connective tissue out while I was pulling it. So only a couple of things left to do now. One, give it a try. That's really good barbecue. The smoke that is in there, you just cannot be a stick burner. It is a lot of trouble. It's a lot of babysitting. It takes longer. It uses a lot more resources. And there's no way that I'm doing this exclusively in my cabinet smoker, the stick burner. I will still continue to use my Oklahoma Joe's Bronco when I'm making pulled pork or Boston butts, just because of the simplicity of it, and it gives a great result also. But this is great. I'm glad that I tried it. I'm going to do one thing now. Thanks to Dow Strong, they sent me this knife. This is pretty awesome. It's in their Gladiator series, and I like my barbecue chopped, so I'm going to give this just a fine chop, and I'll be doing a review on this in a few weeks, so make sure you catch that. But I'm going to chop this up, pour some homemade sauce over it, and I'm going to have dinner finally 12 hours later. And I'll see you next time on Peppercoat BBQ.